Hi everyone, I'm Alex, and today we're going to delve into another distressing case together. Our story begins on March 13th, 1966, in Salt Lake City, Utah, where Shauna Ann Castleton was born into a world full of possibilities. As the years went by, her family sought new beginnings, moving to rural Pennsylvania in 1978 and later settling in Virginia. It was there that Shauna, a bright and outgoing cheerleader, navigated the halls of middle and high school. Her vibrant personality shone brightly, making her a beloved figure among her peers. In 1994, at the age of 28, Shauna's journey took a dramatic turn as she ventured into the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada. This city, known for its vibrant energy and endless opportunities, became the backdrop for her new career at Saks Fifth Avenue and Neiman Marcus. Shauna stepped into the world of cosmetic sales, where her charisma and ability to connect with others were undeniable. However, it wasn't long before Shauna discovered a new passion within the hospitality industry. She transitioned to working as a cocktail waitress, first at the Fiesta Casino and then at the renowned The Palms Casino. In these lively environments, Shauna's infectious joy and dedication to her work did not go unnoticed. Patrons and colleagues alike were drawn to her radiant energy and warm presence. Shauna found her place in the dazzling world of chance and excitement, thriving both in her job and financially, earning an impressive salary and tips exceeding $100,000 per year. It was during this time that George Miguel Tiafe, a valet at the same casino, noticed her. George had a remarkable background, excelling in athletics and academics in high school, attending West Point Academy, serving in the Army Corps of Engineers, and even appearing in a Firefighter pinup calendar. Despite his outward success, George's true character shone through in his generosity and dedication to helping others, including supporting his family back home. In October 2002, George became a firefighter for Las Vegas Fire and Rescue, continuing his mission of serving others. Fate brought Shauna and George together, and their lives intertwined romantically, leading to the start of a new chapter. Within a year, they welcomed their daughter, solidifying their bond. 3 years later, on March 16, 2006, under the Hawaiian sun, they exchanged vows, becoming a loving and united family in the eyes of those around them. However, after 2 happy years of marriage, things took a turn in the Tiafe household. George suffered a significant financial loss in the housing market crash of 2008, leading to a noticeable change in his demeanor. Shauna confided in her friends about his jealousy, controlling behavior, and criticism towards her. For example, he would make hurtful comments about her appearance, such as accusing her of dressing provocatively. During this time, George began inviting a homeless man named Noel into their home, paying him for odd jobs. Shauna found Noel unsettling and expressed her discomfort to her friends. Despite George's history of helping the homeless, Shauna felt uneasy about the arrangement. As their relationship continued to deteriorate, the couple considered separation. In 2011, George filed for divorce, and in April 2012, after a decade together, Shauna found the courage to leave the marital home and move into her own apartment. Despite the challenges, they were able to maintain a shared custody arrangement for their daughter. However, just 5 months after their separation, Shauna returned to her apartment to find it ransacked. Among the chaos, she discovered that her wedding ring and a bathing suit bottom were missing. A pair of small boxer shorts, presumably left by an intruder, was strangely found at the scene. Perplexed, Shauna thought it was just a juvenile prank. On September 29th, Shauna finished her shift at the Palms Casino at 3 a.m. Surveillance footage captured her leaving work and heading to her car. 30 minutes later, as she entered her apartment, she was brutally attacked by a masked man wielding a hammer. Despite her pleas for mercy and questions of why this was happening, the attacker continued to strike her with the hammer. Around 9 a.m., George and their daughter approached Shauna's apartment. They noticed the garage door was open, which raised suspicions. Upon entering the apartment, they discovered Shauna lying on the ground, fatally wounded in a pool of blood. The Clark County Coroner's Office later determined Shauna's death was a homicide caused by multiple blunt force injuries. Detectives initially focused on George as a person of interest, but he had a solid alibi. George explained that he had just completed a 24-hour shift at the firehouse and had picked up their daughter from her grandmother's house while Shauna was at work. His colleagues at the fire department confirmed his presence on duty in the 24 hours leading up to his wife's murder, supporting his alibi. George was no longer a suspect in the case. However, detectives became suspicious when George's attorney requested that all future communications be directed through him. The detectives turned to surveillance footage from the Palms Casino in hopes of finding any leads. They couldn't find anyone following or approaching Shauna in the parking lot. With no evidence and dwindling leads, it seemed like Shauna's case would go cold. A breakthrough came when a tip was received through the police hotline, reporting that a homeless man known as Greyhound had been bragging about killing a woman with a hammer. This man was identified as Noel Scott Stevens, a repeat felon with a history of substance abuse and mental health issues. Blood-stained trousers belonging to Stevens were found near his tent, and forensic analysis confirmed the blood matched Shauna's. Investigators also found a barcode sticker from a hammer purchased at a Lowe's home improvement store. A forensic download of Stevens' phone revealed a contact named George, further linking him to the case. When asked who the person was, Stevens stated, "That's my friend, a firefighter." Phone records showed that Stevens and George TFA had been in constant contact leading up to the murder. George had called Stevens 87 times in September, including 5 times on the night before the murder. During the investigation, detectives discovered evidence that George had gone to a Lowe's store and made a copy of his wife's apartment key, which he later gave to Stevens. Faced with the evidence, Stevens eventually confessed to officers that George had offered him $5,000 to kill Shauna. George had even taken Stevens to a local store to buy supplies. This claim supported by video footage of the pair purchasing a hammer, ski mask, and black clothing at Lowe's. Stevens told prosecutors that George had made sure they purchased a hammer with a fiberglass handle that would not break. He said he had done several dry runs before killing Shauna, including burglarizing her apartment and staking out her workplace. On one occasion, he was caught by police officers who confiscated his hammer, filed a report, and let him go. On the morning of September 29th, Stevens broke into Shauna's apartment armed with a wooden hammer, waiting for her to arrive home from work. Despite his cooperation, Stevens received a harsher sentence than expected, 42 years to life for murder, conspiracy, burglary, and robbery. Detectives informed George TFA's mother and sister on October 8th that he was being investigated for planning his wife's murder. Shortly after, George TFA crashed his truck at 76 mph into a retaining wall at the end of Summerlin Parkway in the Las Vegas Beltway, in what appeared to be a suicide attempt. Despite surviving the crash, detectives arrested him 2 days later at University Medical Center. When informed of his arrest, TFA simply replied okay and requested to call his attorney, take a shower, and brush his teeth. Initially facing multiple charges including conspiracy to commit murder, possession of burglary tools, conspiracy to commit burglary, conspiracy to commit robbery, burglary while in possession of a deadly weapon, robbery with the use of a deadly weapon, and first-degree murder with the use of a deadly weapon. TFA's supposed motive was to avoid the financial consequences of a divorce. The trial of Nevada v. George TFA featured 5 days of testimony from over 20 witnesses and 3 hours of closing arguments. After 15 hours of deliberation, the jury reached a verdict. During the sentencing phase, TFA's life prior to the crime was highlighted by both the prosecution and the defense. A graduate of the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, TFA was once considered a local hero, particularly among his fellow firefighters. In his defense, attorney Robert Langford appealed to the judge to consider TFA's honorable past. Ultimately, George TFA was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Thank you for watching, everyone. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay updated on new stories from around the world. See you soon. Take care.